Hi, today I want to talk about the concept of justice. See, today justice is not aligned with accurate understanding of human behavior and its causes and effects. Rather, it is aligned with a fixed value system that is enforced in the process of punishment. And no time is invested in finding the causes and the conditions that led to certain behaviors, and no assistance is given to undoing the behavior. Instead, people demonstrating undesirable behavior, meaning undesirable meaning unaligned with culture, behavior are ostracized and alienated from society. Now, I want to give you a little bit of perspective on the very notion of justice. Because essentially, justice only materializes, if you will, when you apply culture to an ecosystem. In other words, when you break free from culture, the notion of justice dissolves. Now, what do I mean by that? Justice is like a rule that applies within when we operate within a culture, but when we transcend a culture, justice dissolves or changes, transforms. For example, and that's what I mean when I say breaking free from culture, it implies a variety of different things. But as an example that I can give you is the concept of ownership. For example, we have laws today that are associated with, or rather, the laws stem from the existence and the application of the concept of ownership. Now, if we redesigned the notion of ownership, or if we literally gave up the concept of ownership and we shared resources, now most of the laws, if not all laws, that are associated with ownership today would no longer apply. For example, you only have laws for stealing because something belongs to someone. Do you understand that? Because you have property or something can be perceived as it is stolen. But when you transcend ownership, nothing can ever be stolen anymore. Do you understand that? this is essential to understand, to grasp what I mean by justice dissolving. So this is the example with ownership is the biggest that I can think of. But essentially it applies to different things as well. So another example for this is if we take two very distinct cultures where the framework, if you will, for justice is very different, so that when you compare the two, the difference is too big to arrive at a common ground, if you will. So also when comparing very different cultures, we can see that the concept of justice changes very much. And so to understand this, we cannot, if we compare two similar cultures, it will not work, because let's say in a culture you would have different aspects and values, and the more the values from the two cultures coincide and converge, the less probant the comparison is. So, for example, if you take cannibalism in cannibalist culture and a Western culture, we clearly see that the values are completely different, and almost none coincide. So this way we understand, so it gives us perspective as for the concept of justice. But if we were to, for example, compare like, let's take countries. So if you take the UK, and you would take Russia, although you would see differences between the cultures, the core values are fundamentally close to one another. So you don't get to see how justice dissolves, if you will.